to the East Regional semifinal, where UMass and Arkansas are about to get underway. Georgetown has already advanced here. They'll play the winner of these two teams. It's brought to Quinn Buckner and Gus Johnson.
And thank you very much, Pat. Our second game, Arkansas and UMass. UMass, the #1 seed. Arkansas, the last 12th seed in the tournament. Earlier this evening, Georgetown beating Texas Tech, ending their 23-game winning streak. They await the winner of this matchup. And welcome back to Atlanta, everybody. I'm Gus Johnson along with Quinn Buckner. Now, moments ago, we found out from UMass that All-American center Marcus Camby will not be starting this game. We tried to talk to coaches and also the sports information director. They are not giving a reason as to why he's not starting the ball game. And Quinn, how much does his departure in the starting lineup affect this club?
Well, I don't know if it's going to affect it that much. And one of the things that you know about Calipari, he could be some reprimand here. It could be just trying to see how his team goes against the pressure. But you know that with what's at stake, that he's going to play. When John Calipari said he'll explain it after the game, but for whatever reason, he won't start. Weeks will start in his place, and the most important thing is the team keeps its momentum in terms of handling the basketball, because I think that's the most important part of this game for them anyway.
Now, yesterday, they almost lost starting guard Carmelo Travieso, and for more on his situation, let's go to Andrea Joyce.
All right, well, Carmelo is feeling a lot better tonight than he did earlier today after that fall off of the platform at the press conference yesterday. I talked to him after the shoot-around late this afternoon, and he did tell me that he was stiff and sore and that it hurt the most when he was bending down to get into his stance. But he has loosened up tonight. He's done some extra stretching. They've been treating him with anti-inflammatories, ice, and some heat. And he also told me that the coaches are hoping that he will be able to play as much as possible to reduce the likelihood of stiffening up again throughout the game. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Andrea. As for Arkansas, they finished the regular season 20-12, and they've gotten back to basics, and their basic is their defense.
That defense is absolutely what they're about. They start 4 freshmen, and with that, you're going to have some problems. But what they can create, they're back to 40 minutes of hell. They only got to it only a short time ago, but when you're playing against this team, Arkansas, you've got to be concerned about where the pressure points are. They get after the ball. They got Ollie Thompson. He's one of the guys on the point. They'll throw it into the center spot. Now watch them converge, and then there's quick hands, anticipation. They collapse on you, try to cut off angles. They know you're going to try to get out of there. You've got to attack it, because if you don't attack that, they will attack you. This is the beginning of their 40 minutes of what can be a long night.
And the starting lineups now for Arkansas. The freshmen, Hood, Reed, Towns, and Bradley. Darnell Robinson is a junior. And for UMass, Dingle Bright, Tyrone Weeks in the place of Marcus Camby, Travieso, and Padilla in the backcourt. David Libby, the lead official this evening. And Arkansas coming out in the dark uniforms, UMass in the white. Today's tip: no 12 seed has ever won a regional semifinal game. So Arkansas trying to make history this evening. And there's Marcus Camby, All-American, first team, Atlantic 10 Player of the Year, sitting on the bench to start the ball game against Arkansas.
Well, obviously, they've got to feel, does UMass, at some point when they get him back in the game, they'll have some advantages in there. Well, I have to tell you, if I'm John Calipari, it's got. You don't ever want to. If there's reprimand involved, you don't ever want to not do that. Boy, there's a lot at stake here.
Awfully bold statement by Coach Calipari. Here's Robinson, knocked out of bounds. We'll stay down here. Now, the only meeting between these two schools took place last year in the Tip-Off Classic in Springfield, Massachusetts. UMass winning 104-80 in that ball game. Dante Bright with 24 points.
Going after the #1 time at that time, Arkansas. The year prior, having got North Carolina, who was also #1, so they seem to be the giant killers. But today, you got people coming to see killing this giant, if you will, of UMass, and Dante Bright knocks down a little jump shot.
Dante Bright, senior from Baltimore, Maryland. And inside again, he picks up point number 4. Bright averaging 14 points a game. UMass jumping out to the early lead.
Well, when the other team with this kind of matchup, they're going to be active. Dante Bright just knocked down the jump shot. You see he gets there. There's miscommunications between Towns and Derek Hood. The ball goes to the floor. Bright gets it up, tries to complete a three-point play. Gets a nice little chest forearm from Padilla.
Bright with 14 points against Stanford. And UMass, they take a 5-0 lead. A steal. Travieso running the floor. Reed chasing. Here's Padilla swinging it to Dana Dingle. Dingle sliding inside lefty, and he got it to go.
I mean, they haven't missed the beat. We're looking at this team. We're worried about Marcus Camby being in it so far. They're just going right through and haven't missed a beat. One of the things they've got going for them, actually, they've been able to go to the basket, and you don't have to worry about Marcus Camby's man blocking it up. But as I said, I didn't think Camby would be on the bench very long.
How big of a statement is it to put him on the bench, especially when you see him jumping out to a 7-0 lead like that?
Well, I think it says that, you know, we believe in what we can do with and without him, but they're a much better team with and without him. They will not win a national championship without Marcus Camby on the floor.
There's Padilla. Offensive rebound by Dingle, tapped out. And Padilla will control and restart the offense.
What they've got in their guards are just two very solid players who won a lot of games for them and will be savvy. The 40 minutes of hell, there's some question as to how much that may bother them because they're so experienced as Marcus Camby goes with his first jumper.
Camby very emotional as he knocks the jump shot down. Here's Robinson on the other end. UMass streaking out to a 9-0 lead already, 2 minutes into the first half. Here's Dingle squaring up, swings it in front. Camby. Weak side rebound and put back. That's Weeks.
They're just killing them on the offensive glass. They took a bad shot, and Donnell Robinson is getting ready to get a piece of the mind of Nolan Richardson because he took that quick three-pointer, but it allowed what UMass wanted to do in terms of their tempo to be able to continue that. You take a bad shot, it just allows them to go back the other way.
UMass on top 11-0. 17:50 remaining in the first half.
You got Marcus Camby. You know you got a guy that can make some plays, but you know they've been accustomed to playing without Marcus Camby. Didn't expect it here as Weeks gets a chance to go back up with that one.
$11-0 the score, 17:47 to go. UMass 5 for 8 from the field. They're shooting 62% already. And we get a blocking foul. That's Camby.
The guy I like watching on UMass is Carmelo Travieso. Watch his hands. He's a guy that he doesn't go around the ball much, and he and Padilla both. They don't go around the ball much without putting their hands out to try to get the ball moving in their direction.
And here's Padilla, guarded by Marlon Towns. Inside Camby. Dip into the basket, and he got the roll.
Now that's just much too easy. If he's allowed to make that turn and get there, you can't get help down in time for that. This is an Arkansas team that's starting to show their use by allowing Camby to get to the basket that easily.
Pat Bradley, a freshman from Massachusetts, starting for Arkansas. Guarded by Travieso.
Closely guarded.
Here's Towns trying to lean in on the baseline. 13-0 our score, 16:50 to go. Left-hand runner inside by Padilla, and he picks up the offensive foul.
He got a little anxious right there. As you look at Tyrone Weeks on the floor.
Now, Weeks has been suffering with a foot injury.
See, going through right there, Weeks. Actually, they knocked knees. Well, he got off his right foot. And they're going to take him out of the game. I mean, he doesn't seem to be in any agony, if you will, going to the sideline. But it gave him a great lift.
Weeks, the sixth man on this team, averaging 18 minutes. UMass, they don't play a whole lot of guys.
you know, when you got an experienced team, you can really get away with that a little bit. You know, when we won the championship and went undefeated, we didn't play a lot of people either. You can get away with it because guys at this stage, they're smarter. You got, you know, 2 seniors and 3 juniors playing. You got guys that understand what they have to do, and they can play with fouls if they have to, but you got weeks they can give them a break and you can move people around.
Arkansas still trying to get on the scoreboard. 16:30 left. First half, 13-0.
They can't because UMass is playing great defense. I mean, they're out contesting every dribble, every shot.
So Kareem Reed inside trying to make something happen for Arkansas.
UMass foul at number 50, Enos Norville. That's his second.
And defensively,
UMass's
defense,
number 21, Marcus Camby.
really holding teams down 38.6% on the season.
That's 6th in the nation.
That's great.
Oh, I mean, that's what you get from them. I mean, they get after, and it starts out front with their guards, because when you have guards that can apply pressure in a half-court setting, it forces the team to move their offense out to receive the pass, and now you're in unusual relationship in terms of, you know, where you're accustomed to throwing the pass. Instead of being 2 steps off, you're now 3 steps off, and that changes the dynamic.
Also, they only give up 61.8 points per game. That's 9th in the nation. So Arkansas finally gets on the scoreboard with 2 free throws, 13-2. Here's Camby trying to reverse it, and it's rejected by Hood, but he picks up the foul.
Camby had a little bit of a little hot dog in that one. He was trying to make a play. Padilla does a good job of just skating through the defense. You see Hood try to go over there. He definitely pushed Camby in the back. Camby goes with it forward. I don't think Hood can get there. You see right there, cut off Bradley. The help comes over. This Wilson gets there late, and then Hood tries to come over the top. It's called for the foul.
Camby, 2 of 3 from the field so far. He's got 4 points. Scored 20 points, 9 of 15 shooting against Stanford. He had 8 rebounds and 7 block shots. And according to our Andrea Joyce, Tyrone Weeks on the UMass bench is just fine, and he will be back. That's Kareem Reed inside. And we get a foul up high. Dana Dingle, 13 for UMass.
A tradition unlike any other, the Masters on CBS Sports.
Basketball.
They've come out here with a UMass team that's just been very aggressive on the defensive side and came out right away scoring, able to get shots and offensive rebounds, with Marcus Camby coming off the bench. Decision made by his coach, Don Calipari.
And a traveling violation. That's Lee Wilson, Jr. out of Waco, Texas. Took a couple extra steps. So far, Arkansas 1 of 7 from the field, 14%.
UMass is handling this pressure that Arkansas is putting on them because they've got some experience and ball handlers on the floor. See, they don't force anything.
Right now, Wake Forest leading Louisville by 5 points. Cleared by Towns. Ahead, Kareem Reed in the open court. This is where he's most effective, but he'll pull up. Bradley down low. Kareem Reed to Hood, and Hood is fouled. Now on the season, Arkansas, they don't shoot it really well. 44% from the field, 32% from the three-point line. Against Marquette, they shot 31% from the floor, Quinn, but held Marquette to 26% shooting.
Well, that's their strength, is that they were able to make people take difficult shots. But you see, if UMass is 6 of 11, that means they're probably the shooting is great. And I guess, or they got some luck going for them, and all of a sudden you see Nolan Richardson looking up, kind of thinking his lucky stars is Derek Hood. Shoots one off the glass.
Hood, a freshman, 42% free throw shooter.
That's part of the problem they have with their shooting percentage. They don't have, first of all, outstanding shooters other than Bradley. Towns can shoot it a little bit, but those are their shooters. But those are freshmen. So they're not really accustomed to getting shots against the kind of tempo and the speed and the way they have to make decisions. So some of the shots they take are ill-advised shots. And based on their shooting percentage, I think a lot of them are.
Forcing a turnover there, some indecision on the part of Padilla and Dana Dingle. Dingle not ready for the return pass. UMass scored the first 13 points. Arkansas now, though, has scored the last 6. And Dante Bright takes a seat. And Weeks comes back into the ballgame.
Arkansas substitution number 21, Landis Williams.
Here's Bradley around a screen. Kareem Reed, top of the key. Reed. And he's fouled inside.
He's quick enough to get where he needs to go. What Reed is not able to do as well as some of the other guards in the country is he doesn't have a jump shot, but he's got extreme quickness. He can set you up, get where he needs to go. His whole intent here is try to get you to come in and reach for it. And if you do, he can get to the foul line.
Kareem Reed, second in the SEC in assists and also second in steals. From St. Raymond's High School in the Bronx, where he played with Dana Dingle and also Charlton Clark, who are now on the sidelines with UMass.
He broke the assist record for a season that was set by Lee Mayberry at Arkansas. That's a lot for a rookie to do that.
All alone, waiting for the basketball is Weeks. And UMass, they take a 15-8 lead. Here's Towns, cut off on the baseline.
UMass will do that. You come baseline, they will cut you off with 2 or 3 people. What Arkansas has to be careful of, you get there and don't make the play, and you have nowhere to go with the ball.
Landis Williams rejected by Travieso. Go inside and an offensive foul. Tyrone Weeks. That's his second.
They try to throw the ball inside, and Towns gets over there and takes that charge.
17th foul.
On a short bench, you don't really want to get a lot of people. You know, you obviously don't want to get anybody in any foul trouble there. But Weeks is the guy that they use a lot in the center. They actually use with the forwards. It allows, if you need to go and put either Bright or Dingle out on the guard spot, you can be able to do that. That's on Marcus Camby on that block. You can't let people get the ball in the post and then try to defend them from behind, and that's what Marcus Camby does. Then he tries to come over and get it. They call a foul because of the body.
Marcus Camby, that's his second, 8th team foul.
So Camby picking up foul number 2 with 14:06 to go in the first half. Arkansas right now a perfect 7 of 7 from the free throw line.
It's been the only thing that didn't have go positively for them, frankly, from the free throw line, because they hadn't been able to get some shots. They were making some turnovers early, but they seem to have settled down. They were in much too much of a hurry early, and their passes were reflecting that, and they were getting turnovers.
Make it 8 of 8. And Travieso turning the ball over. Arkansas on the season, they force about 19 turnovers per game. UMass only turns it over about 12 times per game, but right now, the Razorbacks will get it back.
Well, they've settled down as the Razorbacks, as we were talking about, and they get into their noted press, and Travieso will get it, and then Bradley takes the baseline from him, and in doing so, trying to move away from him, Travieso bounced the ball off his foot because Bradley moved at the last minute. That adjustment cost UMass the ball.
And we talked about it at the very beginning of our telecast when the 40 minutes of hell defense by Arkansas, and as the season progressed, they learned how to work this system.
Well, yes, they learned it because they ended up playing with, as we talked about, 4 freshmen and a junior at this stage, with losing both Adebayo, Sunday Adebayo and Jesse Pate, who were their leading scorer and rebounders. But they didn't get this going until they played Arkansas in their last regular season game. And now they have confidence in what they're doing. First they didn't know, then they learned and got confidence.
Speaking of Jesse Pate and Sunday Adebayo, Pate led the team in scoring, Adebayo in rebounding, and they were forced to leave the team because of problems with their junior college transcripts. Adebayo and Pate are still taking classes at the university, and they will appeal the decision made by the NCAA.
And the problem became with the transcript mostly because of the timing and them knowing as to when it was turned in, and they started practice too early. It was not anything that they did knowingly.
Carmelo Travieso nailing the three in the corner. On the other end, Kareem Reed trying the lob pass to a streaking Landis Williams, and they turn the ball over for the fourth time.
Nick Davis.
That was a tough pass to handle. I don't care who you're throwing that one to. Nobody's big enough or quick enough to get to that one from where Reed threw it.
Dante Bright getting it over the half-court line, being very careful with the basketball. And Dana Dingle gets it to Edgar Padilla. 13-10 to go in the first half. 8-point lead for UMass. And a whistle inside.
Nolan Richardson, in talking about his team, one of the things he says, you know, do your freshmen understand what they're going through? He said, no, not really, and I don't really want them to understand it at this point, because this is something that freshmen are not supposed to be able to do, be here in the semifinal of the regional. So he wants them to be a little uninformed on this process, so they just continue to play hard.
Dana Dingle with an air ball. And here's Reed. Nicky Davis in the ball game right now, junior college transfer from Queens. Here's Bradley.
They've got to throw the ball into Wilson. If he's got Marcus Camby with 2 fouls, they've got to throw the ball and let him make some play.
Kareem Reed wheeling inside, knocked out of bounds. They say it's last touch by the Minutemen. To go in the first half. UMass had got out to a 13-0 lead, but since then Arkansas has made a run, and it's an 18-10 ball game. Dante Bright inside, his shot off the mark, rebounded by Bradley. Here's Bradley, and he carries.
He was calling Nicky Davis and was ready to pass him the basketball, and said Nicky, and Nicky looked and then didn't stop so he can get him the ball, and in doing so, Bradley turned the ball over. But Pat Bradley's not somebody you really want to handle. Bradley's a shooter. They've got to be able to get him. They're going to give him a break here. But he's the guy you need to get the ball in three-point area and let him just stick it.
Marcus Camby, the All-American from UMass, did not start the basketball game for reasons unknown. Coach John Calipari made a statement that he will discuss the benching of Marcus Camby as Camby jams home the putback after the ball game has been played in the press conference. 10-point lead now for UMass, and a whistle inside.
Well, they call that one on Nicky Davis, but, you know, if Arkansas goes into a zone, one thing they don't do is block out, and they miss Marcus Camby on this particular play. That's how he gets the slam dunk.
Nick Davis, that's his first. 17th foul.
Able to give Marcus Camby a little bit of a break here, because he came in, his team can carry it on their own. They have been active. They carried it. He's only had to get a couple, I mean, really been active on the block a little bit, but he hadn't had to do a whole lot. He got 2 fouls because he got a little over anxious.
Carmelo Travieso at the line, shooting 1 and 1.
So Carmelo Travieso with 4 points. And a lane violation called against Dana Dingle. 11:54 remaining in the first half. UMass up 21-10. For play from Atlanta, Georgia. site of the East Regional, and Marcus Campbell, during the regular season, he collapsed before the St. Bonaventure game and had to miss 4 games. It was not a serious injury, he just fainted. But while he was in the hospital, he had a chance to spend time with a young man, a kid that was dying from lupus. And the young man ended up dying. He was 10 years old. The last name of Tamaleo. And his father wrote Marcus Camby a letter after his son passed, saying that he really appreciated how Marcus spent time with him.
Number 50, Enos Norville.
And the last moments of his son's life were very special because he was a tremendous sports fan, loved UMass, and for a person of Marcus's stature to talk to him and just allow him to hang around was very big and was very special.
You know, it's great when you see these young people take on other aspects. You know, they get into life. It's very easy to get in sports in general to kind of stay in your own world. It's just good to hear of those kind of situations, and that's obviously a tribute to Marcus Camden and what he's about.
And a traveling violation, Dante Bright. So the press starting to cause UMass some problems. Coach Calipari continuing to root his troops on. They lead at 23-11.
Yeah, but what Coach Calipari also knows is that the press that they have can cause a problem for Arkansas, because Arkansas has so much youth on their side. So, I mean, it's a good ploy on his side to pressure young people who've not ever been in this situation before. Arkansas turned 10 players, 10 new players on their roster, and for them to show up here, I mean, I'm not sure that's ever happened in college basketball when you get that much of a changeover.
Chavieso's three-pointer off the mark. Will get it back, reload, tipped up. And Dana Dingle unable to get the follow. Here's Reed. Robinson putting it on the floor.
It was the right thing to do because he's got Marcus Camby guarding him, because all Camby can do is back off for not wanting to pick up his third foul.
Darnell Robinson missed 13 games this year with a broken bone in his foot.
Got a trap here. They're in the corner. You got to trap this one.
Here's Padilla. Get it over the timeline.
Well, he got actually a big break because they were at the half-court line, and then the half-court line was getting ready to trap him. So when you knock it back, you give him that whole area to find a way to go in the other direction.
And Dante Bright kicks the ball out of bounds.
UMass substitution.
So from the floor, Arkansas 2 of 12. From the free throw line, however, they're 9 of 10. Only 2 field goals for the Razorbacks. Here's Hood picking up his dribble at the free throw line. Robinson guarded by Camby.
Good judgment to bring it back out. They need to just let Robinson get back in position and throw it to him down there.
Marlon Towns, a freshman. Rebounded by Marcus Camby.
Showing you some of his ball handling skills. So that's another way to break a press. If you've got a big man that can handle the ball, you can have him bring it down, because most big men defensively don't go through the same drills of having to get out and cut people off.
Chavieso, quick shot. Rebounded by Hood. Here's Reed, flying down the floor, and he's fouled from behind.
It's a bad decision by Marcus Camby. That's his third foul. I mean, that's a decision that he's got to make better. You keep the pressure on by taking it to the basket. Marcus Camby comes over to try to block that shot, and actually Kareem Reed caused it, because as he went up, he started to put the ball in one position, and he kind of roped it a little bit, and then he roped it right around Marcus Camby's arm, who has to sit down again with 3 fouls. He's had to do that in other games here in the tournament. He had to sit down because he gets 3 fouls in the first half. But we were talking about it. UMass they've been accustomed. The 4 games he missed, they had some success in it, so they know that they can play without Marcus Camby for more than stretches. They played games and had success and won without Marcus Camby on the floor.
So Kareem Reed makes it a 23-15 ball game. Reed with 5 points. Here's Padilla, guarded by Bradley. Dribble over to the left side. Weeks posted up on Robinson. Padilla for 3.
So that's what'll hurt. They've got guards that shoot the 3. I mean, you had it right where you wanted. They were running the shot clock down. You throw it inside, get it back out, hope the defense collapse. Padilla makes it 3.
Reed. A lot of shake and bake in Reed's game.
Yeah, but he's not getting by Travieso. Not at all. I mean, he was right there. He did shake him and bake him, but he didn't go anywhere. If you can get the ball to go inside, you need to. Your percentages are there. Your percentages are there. Throw it in there because the defense is always going to turn and collapse. You'll see that happen 9 times out of 10. So you whip it inside. Now watch. Bradley turns his head. He comes down, and then you move so the defense can't find you. You line it up, and you drill it. That's simple basketball.
Arkansas shooting 2 of 13 from the field, 14%, as Derek Hood picks up foul number 3. And he's replaced by Lee Wilson.
Derek Hood is a guy that can give you good numbers even off the glass. He had 13 points and 11 rebounds against Marquette. He had 12 and 12 against Penn State. So they're going to miss his activity. Nolan Richardson thinks Derek Hood is going to be a very, very good player.
Dana Dingo at the free throw line. He's the 29th player in UMass basketball history to score 1,000 points. Senior from the Bronx. Played in 135 straight games coming into this evening, and that sets the all-time record at UMass, surpassing 134 by Lou Rowe. Bounce pass, Wilson inside, and a foul. That's an offensive foul against Lee Wilson as he leaned in.
Well, if you've got position established and the official makes the call of, you know, the offensive foul, I thought that one was one where Wilson was going to the basket. I thought I saw some arms flop over that way, but Wilson is so big, he gets that mass going in one direction. Difficult for him to change it.
.8:13 remaining, 28-15, UMass leading Arkansas. Elsewhere, Wake Forest leading Louisville by 3 points early in the second half. 10 on the shot clock. Dingle, the kick out. Travieso. Backside rebound. Dante Bright unable to get it to go. Here's Ollie Thompson in transition.
They will not let Bradley look at a shot. He's the leading three-point shooter on that team. They won't let him smell a basket.
And a whistle and a foul.
That's got to be on Ollie Thompson. He was over on that side and just came in and threw a hand in there. No chance for him to really make a play, but they call a foul on him.
Number 5, Ollie Thompson. That's his first 10th team foul.
So Thompson picks up foul number 1, the 10th team foul called against the Razorbacks. So
Arkansas
UMass in the double bonus. Tyrone Weeks going to the free throw line.
The reason that UMass is so good, I keep saying this about their guards. Their guards are hard to track. Hector Padilla and Camilo Travieso, what they'll rarely allow you to do is get them cornered. That's why this one play I was talking about before, that they were on the half-court line, it was such an unusual thing to see because they've got good quickness, and they'll force you to have to change direction and back off of some of your aggressiveness. That is what makes them so good. Hard to trap them.
Tyrone Weeks, 5 points, 3 rebounds. He'll knock down the second. 7:35 remaining. UMass by 15. Atlanta, Georgia, Gus Johnson, Quinn Buckner, Andrea Joyce. The East Regional, Georgetown beating Texas Tech. In the first game, a number 2 seed against the number 3 seed. And here in our second game, Arkansas, the only 12th seed remaining in this year's tournament, taking on the number 1 seed in the East,
number 12,
UMass.
We've seen a lot of things here early. Mostly just some bad shooting by Arkansas. They've gone 1 for 7 at one point with 14%. They're now 2 for 14.
Kareem Reed at the line, shooting.
You can't shoot in this league, in this business. You can't. It's hard to win games, and they haven't been able to shoot the ball. They're 11 for now, 12 for 13 from the foul line. So the only thing you can do is continue to try to get to the foul line. And Kareem Reed just has gone 4 for 4.
Marcus Camby did not start the basketball game
Arkansas
for
substitution
UMass.
number 23, Antoine
A
Hall.
reason has not been given as of yet by John Calipari. 7:28 left in the first half. 30-17, UMass on top of Arkansas. Not a very good shooting evening for the Razorbacks, to put it mildly.
Arkansas has gone in a 1-1-3 to keep pressure on the ball and still try to get rebounds. But still, UMass is going up to get them that time. You got Dingle coming with it. Landis Williams fouled it. You know, we were talking to Nolan Richardson, and that's what he said. He likes throwing unusual plays at you, particularly defensively. Sometimes you don't know where the trap is going to come from, but they played, as I said, a 1-1-3. They got a guy to keep on the ball. You see Bradley's just moving around, and the 3 guys on the back just try to protect it. But with Kareem Reed down there trying to block out on Weeks, there really was no way to do it, and that's how the ball got knocked free, and Dingle came up with it and got fouled.
11th year at Arkansas for Nolan Richardson. He won the national championship in 1994, finished second to UCLA last year. He's won 20 or more games, 9 straight years. And this is just an outstanding coaching performance by Nolan Richardson this season, especially with all the players that left, Scotty Thurman, Corliss Williamson, and losing his top scorer and top rebounder during the regular season.
Well, they basically lose in a year about 12 people, including those last 2 gentlemen that you talked about. It. This is probably one of his best coaching jobs.
Inside, Landis Williams, but he steps on the baseline, and they call off the basket. Dana Dingle gets it in. Here's Charlton Clark, a freshman from St. Raymond's High School in the Bronx as well. Cross-court pass, Weeks, and he calmly gets it to Travieso.
So they always are able to find an outlet. I mean, that's what you like about UMass. Even when you put pressure on them, somebody pops free.
Go inside, Weeks, pump fake.
He is so big and strong. He got fouled there, and he never moved. I mean, somebody came down on his back, and he just never budged at all and was able to still get it in.
So the 6th man for UMass trying to follow up a good game. He had 10 against Stanford, and he was 5 of 6 from the field. He's got 8 this evening so far. Williams rebounded, blocked. Weeks scrambled for the ball. And the possession arrow will be in the favor of the Minutemen.
Tyrone Weeks is somebody you've got to like. He stays active. You see him standing right there. He got his hand on that, partially blocked it, tried to come up with it. Wilson and he go after it, and Weeks goes down on the floor. Wilson comes after him. But at any rate, it's just been his activity. He started for Marcus Camby on the decision of John Calipari, and he's been very, very active for them.
Rigoberto Nunez, a senior from Lawrence, Massachusetts, checking in right now. Travieso losing it on the way up, claimed by Reed. Reed passing up the jump shot, taking it out to Bradley in the corner, and he knocks it down.
Finally able to get him an open look, because UMass, you can see their strategy is to give anybody else a jump shot but Matt Bradley, because he's the leading three-point shooter on the team.
And a rejection. Landis Williams sending it out. Travieso. Clark in the backcourt for UMass. 5:20 to go, 33-19. And Nunes throws it out of bounds.
I mean, you can see the pressure was starting to back up UMass. And all of a sudden you get a turnover and a substitution made right away to get Padilla back in the game, as well as Dana Dingle.
UMass substitutions, number 3.
Trying to take the ball to the basket. You see Landis Williams come over to get the block.
And for Arkansas,
so you got at least somebody else active on the floor for Arkansas.
Hogs down 33-19, 5:11 to go in the first half of play. Kareem Reed inside Robinson. We look on the backside to Williams. And a whistle 3-second violation called against the Razorbacks. That's the 10th turnover of the ball game for Arkansas. Savieso loses a handle. And Pat Bradley heads to the floor and picks it up.
Arkansas, a team that presses you, one of the rules is always continue to come from the backside, and that's exactly what happened there. As you just see, you shake your head in disbelief as Kareem Reed just scoops him one up.
10 points for Reed, 33-21, under 5 to go. Tell you, that young man is able to hit some unbelievable shots.
He's got good quickness. He's tired now, though. He's not nearly as active as he was in last possession.
And a steal. Darnell Robinson picking it off. Ahead to Bradley. Here's Reed. Shake and bake again. Williams in the corner. And a follow by Thompson. He can't get it to fall.
They got numbers. Padilla get this one easily. Long rebound. They got tapped out, and Bradley couldn't get back.
35-21. Alley-oop.
I mean, they become fun to watch at some point, but they've got to be able to settle it down and get UMass in more of the game that Arkansas wants to play. UMass, now watch, they'll get it, and they'll kind of ease down the tempo again, and this is where they can play comfortable.
Ollie Thompson from Kareem Reed. Reed averaging 6.6 assists per game on the season. Weeks all alone inside. 10 points for the junior from Philadelphia. Darnell Robinson, and he has it stolen away. Padilla.
Looking right at Robinson, anticipating him putting the ball on the floor. And every time the ball goes by Padilla, Savieso, they put a hand down by the ball. And I think that's good for any young player. Create some action there.
Padilla with 96 steals during the regular season. Inside, Dana Dingle, and one.
They've had an answer every time Arkansas has tried to make any kind of move. You got to have somebody that can handle the ball for you in the NCAA tournament. You see, Padilla make a little decision right there. Draw Robinson. Dingle gets position left-handed, able to get it up and off the glass.
So Dana Dingle steps to the free throw line with 9 points, 3 of 4 from the stripe.
Not surprising.
He got his own rebound.
The thing we like about Dingle is he's a hustler. He's a guy that goes after the ball. He has probably been the most consistent player from his position, making things happen.
19 on the shot clock. Here's Bright. And a foul inside.
UMass foul on number 50, Enos Norville.
So Enos Norville picking up the foul, and he's got 4 fouls already, and we're still in the first half. Now this is what's happened thus far in the East here in Atlanta. Georgetown snapping Texas Tech's 23-game winning streak, which was the longest in the country. And UMass and Arkansas going at it right now. UMass the number 1 seed, Arkansas a number 12, the only 12th seed remaining in the tournament. They are the lowest seed left in the tournament. at number 12. Towns got a good off the front of the rim.
Well, Ollie Thompson has been really active for them in the offensive end. He's chased down some loose balls, giving them some opportunities. Nicky Davis is just, he's really come in. He is well intended, but Davis has really cost his team a couple of opportunities. That time didn't establish himself, trying to get Bradley open, and got called for the offensive foul. And already you can see the teams are totaling 25 fouls here. It's a little bit like the one we saw with Georgetown. A lot of fouls, but Arkansas and Nolan Richardson, when you play the kind of defense where you're trapping and doing those kind of things, you're going to foul because you've got to have your hands out.
Coach Richardson, I see that went another one of those real sharp suits. Great tie. You can talk to Coach. Get you going a little bit.
No, you know, Coach Richardson can carry those suits. I mean, some people can. I for one can't. Now you can, on the other hand, you can carry that.
2:16 left to play in the first half. UMass up big.
I told you.
The field, UMass 47%.
I mean, Arkansas hadn't been able to shoot it. They hadn't been able to shoot it because UMass has played better defense in the man-to-man position, and now they're playing defense a little bit. They're playing actually a man on Bradley and a little bit more of a zone, like a boxing one on Bradley. They've got Charlton Clark chasing him around because Bradley is the only real shooter on Arkansas's team.
Kareem Reed with the air ball. Under 2 to play.
Well, that's the reason you'll play a diamond one or a boxing one, to force people who don't normally take shots to take them. And you can see the result of that one of Kareem Reed. Didn't quite get to the rim.
14 on the shot clock for UMass. It's Clark inside. Weeks lowers his shoulder and picks up the offensive foul.
I mean, Weeks has been doing pretty good here so far, but he gets this one, and talking about making your presence felt, I mean, he turns right here. Got a little bit of an acting job going on there, but I mean, the position was established. But Weeks has got that big body, and it's one that officials will make that call, especially if you have that wide body and you turn and you don't look and you make any kind of contact. You've got to be aware that officials will make that call. Back to man-to-man is UMass, which they've done a very good job in guarding Arkansas. But I mean, Charlton Clark is on Pat Bradley, and he doesn't not even able to catch it, the pass.
6 on the shot clock. Here's Towns putting it on the floor, straight to the basket. Knocked out of bounds. They say it's last touched by the Razorbacks.
Towns makes a good play. He gets to the basket and just couldn't finish it.
UMass substitution number 12, Edgar Padilla.
Now coming up at halftime. We'll stop by with Pat O'Brien and Coach Raveling in the studio. We'll also take you to the Wake Forest Louisville game. There's Padilla. Travieso for 3. Way off the mark there. Here's Reed. In traffic. Taking it out. Davis. Norville with the rebound.
Is it getting up and down enough for you? They push it up, both sides to push it up. Arkansas just has not been able to buy a basket. But I have to say, as much of that has to do with UMass as it has to do with Arkansas.
Dante Bright taken off. And he's called for the offensive foul.
And they wipe away the basket. I mean, that's one where Bright's just got to pull up and shoot the shot. He picks up his second foul. Nice kick right there by Dana Dingle. Bright takes the shot, and there's no question about it. Nicky Davis is standing right there in position. You just pull up and take the little easy jumper.
8 seconds remaining in the first half. 40-24. Reed picks it up. Here's Reed. Picks up his dribble. Lobs one at the basket. 1 second. Here's Clark from half court. And he came close. So at the end of the first half, Tyrone Weeks and the Minutemen from UMass take a 40-24 lead into the locker room. CBS Sports exclusive coverage of NCAA basketball will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
He's not sharing with the rest of us, and we'll get into that possibly at the post.
What really has enabled them to have a 16-point lead.
For Arkansas, Kareem Reed with 10 points in the first half. He led the scores for the Razorbacks. Here's Towns in the corner, guarded by Padilla. Bounce past the Hood. Towns got a great look, and his shot a little too strong.
It's been part of Arkansas's problem all game. They just haven't been able to make shots. They've gotten opportunities. But some of the shots they've taken have been contested, and I'm not sure that enough credit is being given to the defense of Mass.
Arkansas shooting 18% in the first half. Kareem Reed to the hole.
That was kind of indicative of what happened in the entire first half. Just you get there, get a layup or something close to it, and come up with nothing.
And to start the second half, Marcus Camby not in the ball game. He had 3 fouls in the first half of play. Here's Hood. Couldn't get it over the rim.
He wanted to dunk the ball, but got himself too far under the basket.
One other score, Louisville right now up by 2 as they take on Wake Forest. Looks like they're getting ready for a close finish there. Dana Dingle knocked away, scramble for the ball, picked back up by Dingle, right to Bradley. Here's Reed. To the basket, too strong. And a foul.
Well, you have youth out here on the floor. You're going to have instances where things seem to get away from you. Kareem Reed has done this the last 2 times. He gets forced to his right hand, tries to make the contact, draw the contact, throw it up, never got it to touch the basket, end up getting a foul called on the other side. I mean, that's part of what happens. You've got young people out here in this circumstances. They're down, 16 points. And they started to rush things to try to get back. It's like it's going to make them get more than 2 points on a layup.
So Marcus Camby back in the ball game right now. The first half he played 10 minutes and picked up 3 fouls. UMass leading it 40-24.
Arkansas is going to a 2-3 to force a jump shot, but they got to know where the shooters are. That's the best shooter on UMass's team. You got to get to him.
Carmelo Travieso shooting 40% from the 3-point line. That's his 94th 3 of the year. He's got 7 at the other end. Truck Robinson getting the kind roll.
You call him Truck? They call him Tank. He is a big man. He didn't like the way that first one missed the rim, so he passed on the second. You were talking, we were talking the first half. For Nolan Richardson, despite the outcome, this still has to be one of his more satisfying coaching jobs. Here's a guy that's won a national championship in the junior college, the NIT, and the NCAA, and the only person to ever do it. He's taking a team that most people were writing out of the SEC in terms of their ability to get some things done, and they're here in the semifinals of the NCAA tournament. This has to, with the starting 4 freshmen.
Tyrone Weeks
And the
at the
difference
line,
is, as you
shooting
and I were
2.
talking about, this is not like the Fab Five from Michigan where they played together all the time. This group had got put together near the latter part of the season.
Arkansas beat Penn State in an upset 86-80 in the first round, then beat Marquette in the second round. Georgetown beating Texas Tech this evening right here in Atlanta. And Kentucky just rolling by Utah.
Kentucky just rolling, period.
There's Bradley having a lot of problems getting his shot off this evening.
UMass substitution number 4, Dante Bright.
And for Arkansas, this evening shooting 19% from the field. 44% wouldn't be that bad if they could get it this evening.
They take it this evening. Anything better than 19. See, that's all part of use. When you see Marlon Towns get that ball and try to turn back in there, and Nolan Richardson has got his hand to his head, what is he doing? Well, what he's doing is what he used to do in high school. It's just not good enough for the NCAA tournament because the play is so much more aggressive. You got to be strong when you get in that position.
This Canby, floater on the baseline, and he got the roll.
Marcus Canby.
Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Marcus Canby shot that one and it looked like it squeezed out of his hand.
Got great touch.
You know,
big fella.
What I like about him is actually a lot more of his agility. He's very agile for a man of his size, a young man of his size.
47-26, Robinson. Padilla knocking it away and coming up with the steal. Here's Padilla, nice look, Travieso.
Oh, he is just ticked off. Travieso for missing it, as they call goaltending on the part of Marcus Canby.
Basket for Kareem Reed.
Edgar Padilla has broken the UMass record for steals in a game, season, and also a career. Needs 2 more to become the first player in school history and in Atlantic 10 history to have 100 steals.
I mean, this is just great quickness. You saw him get his arms away, and he thought he'd made a pass where it needed to be. And to try and avoid Kareem Reed, Travieso missed the layup. And Padilla was pretty unhappy about that because on a defensive effort, I thought he'd made an outstanding play. First to get his hand on the ball, and then more importantly, to be able to come up with it.
Edgar Padilla.
All right, and so UMass leads 47-28. We're going to get you down to up to Minneapolis, actually, and listen in on the end of Louisville and Wake Forest. Louisville leads by 2. Both teams specialize in close games at the end. Here's Bill Raftery and Sean McDonough.
Oh, my goodness. Davey Odom's complaining. Got himself a 3-point opportunity. Well, he's at that medium range, 15-foot. Should I take the jumper? Right here, the little drop step baseline, 1-2, and he may have shuffled that pivot, but the kiss, wow.
When I heard the whistle, Bill, I thought it was going to be for a travel, for that little shuffle step.
Well, it pays once in a while to get the ear or tin ear of an official.
Danzler's foul is 3rd. Sims comes back in with 4 fouls. The free throw by Duncan gives Wake a 1-point lead. It was his first field goal in more than 11 minutes of game action. 1:15 left. Wake Forest 60, Louisville 59.
And DeJuan Wheat's a shooting guard mentality as Louisville calls the timeout. He's got to get the ball to Samaki. Think like a point guard. Get the big fella involved down in the box.
Promises to be a great finish. Going to go back to UMass, Arkansas, and we'll keep you posted on that one.
16-17 remaining in the second half. It's been all UMass. As Arkansas, they've struggled shooting the basketball, shooting 18% in the first half. That one rattling out. Here's Padilla streaking down the floor, trying to spot Travieso behind the 3-point line. 48-28.
They settled the last 3 or 4 trips. LaRue's got to handle, obviously, but make sure the first free guy gets it.
Louisville. As Wheat went flying.
What a get back for Wheat. I mean, he had been coming up short, the baseline jumper, the pick and roll high. Oh, does this hurt Wake? Good, quick feet. And I like him.
The absence of Rutland.
It sticks out at key times. Well, Louisville's gotten this season this far because of great defense and a terrific reaction by their leader in the backcourt, Devon Wheat.
Because it was a player control foul, no shooting. Louisville will inbound near midcourt with 30 seconds left. This is their 22nd timeout. And they break the huddle with Rogers and Wheat, Flynn, Sims, and Walker. Goolsby, Braswell, LaRue, Allen, and Duncan for Wake.
Initiate the offense. You just want to make sure you get a good opportunity. Here's a little shuffle cut and a screen down. This will get Walker to the ball. He fouled. He got away with one.
And Flynn got knocked to the deck in the corner. Shot clock is off. Game clock down to 10 seconds. Louisville with the ball down 1. Wheat working on LaRue, and later wouldn't go. Rebound, Allen.
Rode the wrong horse all the way down the end there. Walker should have been involved. Very tough situation. And Louisville every opportunity, the joy and triumph.
The final score, Great Forest 60, Louisville 59.
So Wake Forest prevails 60-59 over Louisville. The first trip for Wake Forest to the Elite Eight since 1984. Congratulations. Let's go back to Atlanta. UMass and Arkansas, Quinn and Gus.
Thank you very much, Pat. 14:09 remaining here, the second half. UMass on top, 55-30. And I tell you, this UMass team, Quinn, they've looked extremely good this evening.
Well, they looked every bit as much as you know, you would like to see a team look, given that they're the #1 seed in the tournament. I mean, they played strong from the beginning. John Calipari decided not to start Marcus Camby. This team did not miss a beat. They've come out and they played aggressive defensively. We were talking about the 40 minutes of hell for Arkansas. That did not matter. All we saw was some good, solid defense by UMass, and they've gotten now a huge lead by just being aggressive and more on the defensive end. That's what I've come to appreciate about this team, because you know what Marcus Camby's going to give you.
A final score in the Midwest Regional.
And Marcus Camby coming back into the ball game right now. (56-30), and in the front court, UMass just clearly showing their dominance. 40-16. Here's Hood playing with 4 fouls. Jump hook inside. Got his own rebound. Still can't get it to drop. Travieso with the board. Here's Padilla. Trying to look down low to Dante Bryant, and he throws it out of bounds.
What happened on that one is Padilla saw where Bright should have been going, but Bright didn't see it. Padilla threw it out of bounds. First thing he said was, "My fault."
Here's Landis Williams, guarded by Weeks. Big first half for Weeks with 10 points. He started the ball game in place of Campbell. Jump shot inside, cleared by Dante Bright. And Padilla will slow things up right now with 6 rebounds. Here's Camby back to the basket, drop step, fade away. 13:21 to go in the second half. UMass leading Arkansas 56-30. And this Minutemen team just playing their style of basketball, although Marcus Camby was not in the starting lineup.
And it didn't change their style of basketball. They came out, played very aggressively. I mean, Marcus Camby came in the game. He added something to the mix by getting a shot block, getting some points, but it was not like they necessarily missed him being on the floor. Tyrone Weeks, this gentleman right here, came out, had 10 points in the first half, and they just continued on as though nothing had happened.
Weeks now with 13 points. Now, earlier this evening, Georgetown snapped Texas Tech's 23-game winning streak to advance to the next round on Saturday, and they will play the winner of this game.
I've said to you all along, if Georgetown makes shots, they've got a better chance than most people to be in the Final Four. Probably, and not in the final game, not just the Final Four. And it's because they guard you so well. They make it so difficult for you to score points that if they start scoring, then you have a tough chance catching up with them. Iverson can carry them at any given moment. Today, Othello Harrington kept them in the game when they were struggling offensively. So,
especially early.
Yeah, had it early, got in foul trouble, and when they needed some points, even then he got a basket and then, you know, kept the rhythm when they needed to have that.
98-90 the score of the Georgetown Texas Tech game. A 2 versus a 3. Allen Iverson had 32 points, 5 assists, and 5 steals. And Harrington, 23 points and 6 rebounds, although he fouled out with 8 minutes to go in the second half.
Some kind of play. I'm telling you, I have not seen that play more than 3 times in my entire life watching basketball. Not flipped back over your head coming from the left side like that.
Here's Bradley, catch and shoot, knocks it down.
They have done very good at UMass and guarding Bradley. He's had 2 open looks, and he's made both of the shots.
4 points for Bradley. 58-32. Dante Bright to Canby.
Probably. Got a little anxious that time.
So when you look at the potential for a Georgetown team to take on UMass, how does that game break down?
The Georgetown team is one that, I'll say again, if they shoot it, they put too much pressure on you. I mean, what you like about the experience of UMass is that their guards, Edgar Padilla and Carmelo Traviso, they can handle the ball, but inside, are you going to be able to bring the people to the party that Georgetown can? Because they run experienced size at you that not many teams in the country have.
And Bradley starting to warm up here in the second half of play. 7 points now for the freshman from Everett, Massachusetts. 11:51 to go in the second half. UMass on top, 58-35. Pat Bradley hitting the jump shot. And Bradley, the first player ever from Massachusetts to head down and play for the Razorbacks in Fayetteville.
And I asked John Calipari about that yesterday. I said, how do you let a shooter like this get out of Massachusetts? And he said that when Pat Bradley was a junior, he was playing and then he broke his leg. So Nolan had gotten to see him play, and then everybody backed away when he broke his leg, and then he got back healthy again, and no one had really seen him when he was really at his best. So that's how he ended up down at Arkansas and not at UMass, because I didn't think there's any chance that you not get someone like this.
11:31 to go in the second half. 58-35 UMass.
Arkansas foul number 5, Ali.
I can't believe this has happened to me. I mean, the car tires are gone.
Scramble for the White House press office and for Arkansas's biggest fan. President Clinton had to attend a correspondence dinner tonight in Washington, and fearing that he would miss part of the game, Press Secretary Mike McCurry spent part of the day checking with reporters to see if anyone had a watchman they could bring to the dinner. Now, we're told that the president was going to try to get home as soon as possible to watch the game on TV, but if they did find that watchman, guys, and if they checked the score, he may have changed his mind.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
not at all. Not the president.
He's a big fan of Arkansas.
We had a chance to interview him when we saw Arkansas and Cincinnati earlier during the year.
I'll tell you what, and he was really knowledgeable.
Yeah, you fired some tough questions at the commander-in-chief.
Please understand, I know my commander-in-chief understands the game.
Oh, okay.
UMass
Man.
substitution number 3.
It might be for a casual fan, but the president happens to be much more than that, and particularly for Arkansas. So he knows, you know, what they are not doing and that kind of thing. And today they're not shooting the ball very well. So I know he knows that without us having to say it.
Ball tipped out of bounds by Ali Thompson. 10:51 to play. Arkansas trying to creep back in it. Right now they're on a 7-0 run, trailing 58-37. Here's Padilla for 3. Long rebound out to Thompson. They'll push it ahead. Reed. Jump stop inside, has it swiped away. That's Padilla.
Edgar Padilla is taking the ball all the time.
Can be taken off, and he draws the blocking foul.
I mean, Padilla's always reaching for it and coming up with the ball. I mean, he comes up with the ball because he reaches for it all the time. And even if he looks like he's falling down.
Bradley, that's
I mean, because Kareem Reed thought he was going somewhere. Padilla ends up going on the ground, is able to get the ball out. And now you're looking at the big fella working on his game. He's going to dunk if Bradley doesn't get there in time. But fortunately, Bradley gets there. Unfortunately for Canby, he didn't hurt himself trying to go over the top.
Edgar Padilla needing one more steal for 100 to become the first player in UMass history to come up with 100 steals. He's got 3 this evening. And a correction from the floor, that was his 100. So Edgar Padilla has set the all-time mark for steals with 100.
Does such a good job of clearing the floor. I mean, spacing the floor does UMass, because there was a little trap action going there, and then all of a sudden when it looked like there was nowhere to go, they spread it, give guys angles, they cut through it. That's a sign of a veteran team.
20-point lead for UMass. Under 10 minutes to play. Here's Reed, cross it over inside, and Canby just throws it out of bounds. Reed hoping for a goaltending call. Not this time.
He let the ball go under the rim. I don't know what he thought was going to happen. He said going to the basket, and Canby comes out of nowhere and just watch that one. I mean, he was barely out of his hand, and he knocks it. That would have been a field goal as far as he knocked that ball.
116 block shots for Marcus Canby, junior out of Hartford, Connecticut. The question surrounding Marcus is, will he stay at the university after his junior year?
How ironic is it to have 2 people on the team born on the same day? Travieso and Padilla, both from Puerto Rico, born on the same day. It's almost like they're so in tune. You know, a lot of it, I'm sure, is experience. But when you watch Padilla penetrate, he doesn't even have to look to find where Camelo Travieso is. He just knows it, and you can see the ball almost starting in that direction before he takes off.
Weeks inside, drawing the foul. And in the Southeast region, tomorrow in Lexington, Kentucky, what a game it should be. Connecticut and Mississippi State, followed by Danny Fortson and the Bearcats from Cincinnati, and Stephon Marbury, the freshman, and the Yellow Jackets from Georgia Tech.
How about Drew Barry, led the conference in assists 3 years in a row.
And also Matt Harpring, another great player down there at Georgia Tech. Who do you give the edges to in those 2 games, Quinn?
I give the edge
to the line, shooting
probably
2.
Connecticut in the first game. And, you know, Jerome Shepard is a guy that I think makes a lot of good things happen. I'll tell you what, the game stays half court in the Georgia Tech game, Cincinnati, because they have so many big bodies. I mean, they got between Fortson and Art Long, and they'll bring Roderick Monroe off the bench. They are wide in there, so it's hard to get around them, and when they get in that half-court offense, which you end up in the tournament, that's why I think they got a good chance, because their guards can play pretty well. Both Damon Flint
and Keith Legree.
And not to mention Donnell Burton, who we saw against this Arkansas team coming. They have not played very much at all, just to light them up in 3.
Tyrone Weeks on the basket.
That's Tyrone Weeks inside again, and Tyrone with 16 points and 8 rebounds. Antoine Hall in the ball game. Pat Bradley, jump shot on the baseline, and he drills it. Still a 20-point lead for UMass, 8:42 to go. Here's Camby, jump stop, short, rebound with one hand by Travieso.
Had all kinds of control, had time and control, and just put that one back up like he was playing by himself. For Nolan Richardson to have this team here, the other part that makes it interesting is you see again, this time is the D goes to the basket strong and can't be fouled. I was talking about Nolan Richardson, the freshman playing. He had pretty much decided for the year that that's what he needed to do once he lost Jesse Payton and Sunday Adebayo. Was just to let these young people play and get some experience. Little did he know he was going to get them some NCAA experience. So if you're looking at what Arkansas gets out of this, is that they've got a young team that have everybody that can go back after this thing again.
Here's Towns on the steal, kicking it out to Bradley. He finds the trailer Hall, who has it knocked out of bounds. Arkansas hang on to it. 7:44 remaining in the second half. UMass doing all the little things as they lead 66-44. In the front court, they're shooting 41% from the floor. Big game for Mr. Weeks, 16 points, 7 rebounds. He's 5 of 9 from the field. And another steal.
Who's in the middle of it? Edgar Padilla. I'm telling you, he's always, when it's loose, he goes to get it.
Arkansas substitution, number 44, Darnell Robinson.
So Darnell Robinson back in the game right now. As you watch Padilla and his ability to, as you were telling me yesterday, Quinn, he's got some very quick hands, the guards there.
He really does, and having been a guard that played and liked to come up with steals myself, I admire him because that's what I keep talking about. If you go by the ball, just flick at it. He always does that. And the other thing about it, there's some people that can deflect the ball, but they can't come up with it. Padilla can deflect it and then come up with it.
Baseline jump shot, Hood.
See, he's right down there. The ball goes to the ground, and he's right there to knock it out. You talk about quick watch. He anticipates and comes right there and has a shot at it. Eventually, it just goes off his hand. He didn't have very good position.
There's Kareem Reed. Grab it back. Arcing up a 3, short. And the long rebound goes out to Padilla. 3 rebounds for Edgar. 7:07 to play, 66-44 UMass. Inside Camby, he'll face up, spin on the baseline, and get a whistle. Now coming up tomorrow out west, Kansas, Arizona, Syracuse, Georgia.
Arkansas,
and that Syracuse-Georgia game, that should be a very good game.
Yeah, Syracuse and John Wallace is pretty good, but you know, Tubby Smith is starting 5 seniors. I like Tubby Smith with that team. I'll take my chances with that all day long. And you see, you got Kansas and Arizona. Kansas has a lot of people that come at you with big bodies. Jock Vaughn. I think Lute Olson at one point said he was a guard that didn't quite get it down, shoot it very well, but I'm sure that they'll get a chance to find out whether or not that's important for what Kansas does.
Padilla almost coming up with another steal.
In his first game against the University of Central Florida, he said tied his team record of 7 steals. And he's close to that now. I mean, you can just watch him. His eyes are always looking for where's the ball going.
Pat Bradley. 15 points now for Pat Bradley. Bradley 3 of 5 from the three-point line.
Arkansas foul on number 44, Darnell Robinson. That's his third, 10th team foul.
And the tournament performances, the SEC 9-0, and that will be 9-1
at the line.
if Arkansas were to lose this evening. Second free throw by Canby off the mark. Travieso hustles down the rebound.
See, that's extreme. Why take a hurried shot? Oh, they don't see the shooter. They've got to find Travieso.
Padilla sliding through, and he finds Dante Bright. 9 points for Dante Bright. And there's Padilla coming up with the steal. Pushing it up the floor. He's got 4 steals.
Oh, my goodness, what
Great
a pass.
look, Canby, and he's fouled.
He's up. He's mad, but he's up.
Marcus Canby not real pleased with the hard foul by Darnell Robinson.
Well, these two have actually been going at it. This is one heck of a pass. I mean, it's a bounce pass through traffic, and then there's a pass there. And then Darnell Robinson comes over to try to make a block. A little bit of it is Canby gets himself out of position. I mean, because you see Robinson loses balance, but he doesn't go down nearly as hard as Canby. So at some point here, it forces John Calipari to start thinking about getting his star players out of the lineup. He's taking Edgar Padilla out right now, bringing in Charlton Clark. You've got to consider the same kind of thing
Number 31, Nick
for Marcus Canby, because you got to start. It's time to start worrying about that next game you have against Georgia.
Marcus Canby at the line, shooting 2.
Canby 5 of 8 from the field, 14 points. He's got 3 blocks and 7 rebounds. Came into the game averaging 20 points per game, but as we told you at the top, did not start this evening. And John Calipari did not give a reason for sitting his best player on the bench at the start of the game. And he will give a reason during the post-game press conference. Highly anticipated there. Stay tuned.
That was John Calipari telling Tyrone Weeks, so you're going to tuck your shirt in or I'm going to have to take you out. At this point, Tyrone, I'm not sure that's an option. Tuck your shirt in.
Great game for Weeks, 16 points. Here's Reed trying to find some space on the baseline. Somehow, he managed to get it to Lee Wilson. And he's fouled.
UMass foul number 4, Dante Bright.
Dante Bright picking up foul number 3. 5:30 left, 71-47. UMass, they got off to a 13-0 run to begin this ball game, and basically they've never looked back since then. Arkansas never really able to find their shooting stroke. And a lot of that had to do with this great defense by the Minutemen and Marcus Canby taking a seat. And it'll be interesting, Quinn, to see how Padilla and Travieso face up against some very quick and athletic guards like Allen Iverson and Victor Page.
I'm most interested near the latter part of the game. I really am, because I think early in the game when they've got fresh legs, they have adrenaline. These guys have shown they can handle it. But can they handle it when you've got people with fresh legs causing you to use additional energy to chase down passes? And with the bodies of Georgetown, when they bump against you and put that kind of pressure, that wears you down. And that's what happened to Texas Tech. You know, we start talking about it. They just wear you down.
With Yaya Ja, Jahidi White, and Fellow Harrington, Georgetown with a lot of fouls to give.
Oh, that's not to mention Jerome Williams and Boubacar Al, who at 6'7" is still big enough that he can cause some problems in there.
It will also be interesting to monitor the game of Marcus Canby on the low post, because he's going to draw a lot of contact from the Hoyas. It's Norville. Inside 5 to play, 71-51. Pat Bradley guarding Travieso. And Coach John Calipari coaching for Saturday.
Oh, he's coaching for the next game, whatever it is. I mean, and he got at Camilo Travieso, asking why was he throwing it down there. Because what they wanted to look for was Dante Bright coming off the top of it. But a coach is a coach without regard to where it is in the game. And it's the smart thing to do. You can't have your team giving up at all.
Here's Reed finding Ollie Thompson behind the arc. Rebound, Nicky Davis. Bradley with the screen. Davis with the rebound. And it's knocked out of bounds. We'll stay down here. 3:51 to go. 71-51.
There's a timeout on the floor.
I do not drive to work. I do not drive.
Clark, the freshman. '51. That's too obvious. I'm not even going to say it.
Two places at once?
Two places at once. There you go.
Okay. I don't think so.
71-51 our score. Charlton Clark, the freshman, getting some valuable minutes now. Dante Bright stolen away. Here's Nicky Davis, poked away from behind by
Padilla. You can't get it around.
5 steals for Edgar Padilla. Looks cross court. Clark. Reed going up strong for the rebound, and he's leaned on by Enos Norville. Now here's a piece of trivia that I'm sure people in Massachusetts do not want to see. Since 76, 13 teams have been in the tournament with 1 loss. None has won the championship.
That number includes the recently defeated Texas Tech.
UMass coming into the tournament with a 33-1 record. Their only loss coming to George Washington, 86-76
UMass
at home.
Number 40, Ted Cottrell.
Ollie Thompson takes a step in. 7 points for Ollie Thompson. 3:10 left. It's all UMass. Of the departures of great players like Corliss Williamson and Scotty Thurman, losing 87% of their scoring, and then during the regular season losing Jesse Payne and Sunday Adebayo to some problems with their transcripts to guide this team that starts 4 freshmen, Quinn, to the Sweet 16. That's a pretty heck of an accomplishment.
No, I think it's been a great job. It's one of the best jobs. I'm sure Nolan will tell you that. I mean, he may not say it, but the people around him will say that he's had. I'm telling you, we watched him play against Cincinnati, who was playing against Georgia Tech. But this team was so unorganized with the way the guys were playing. They had athletes, but they didn't have basketball players. They're a little better in terms of at least playing as a unit. Now, obviously, here in this semifinal of a region, but they still just don't have the shooting ability. That's where you talk about having somebody like Scotty Thurman, who made a decision to leave. You got him as a shooter. This is a different team. Now you got somewhere to go with the basketball.
Scotty Thurman had 1 more year of eligibility remaining, but decided to pass that year up to enter the NBA draft.
Arkansas,
he was not selected
31, Nick Davis. That's his
by
third.
any of the teams in the NBA and is now playing in the CBA.
Ted Cottrell at the line, shooting
Just
2.
thinking about what it would be like for Kareem Reed to penetrate and have Scotty Thurman waiting behind the 3-point line for the kick out. That would be a nice thing for the Razorbacks.
It wouldn't have been a bad idea if he had the option to throw the ball inside to Corliss Williamson had he decided to stay too.
Exactly. Nothing to be ashamed of for the Hogs. They'll end the season at 20-11, rather 20-13, and have some motivation for next season. 2:08 to play, 75-55. Down inside by Wilson. Here's Ollie Thompson. Underneath, leaving for, and he'll punch it in.
You know, one of the things that UMass has going for them, you can get into a situation during the tournament where you play a team from the other side of the country that you probably haven't seen very much. Between Georgetown and UMass, both being in the Northeast, you bet your bottom dollar they have seen each other a number of times on TV. So a lot of the preparation, I know coaches that prepare for these kinds of games before they ever get there. They say you ever have to play UMass, and they'll practice things that UMass only does, and vice versa with Georgetown. So, you know, I suspect to some degree we've had that happen between these two clubs, anticipating if that opportunity ever came up.
Here's Charlton Clark. On the baseline, Padilla to Cottrell. And a whistle and a foul. Now tomorrow, a great lineup set up for you. Well, later on today, how about that, since we're after midnight, Mississippi State and Connecticut. Kick off our coverage, followed by Georgia, Syracuse, and then Georgia Tech and Cincinnati. And followed up by Arizona and Kansas.
Arizona was able to get Reggie Geary. You know, they lost Damon Stoudemire, who's having an outstanding year in the NBA. Reggie Geary is their point guard. There was some question as to whether or not he'd be able to lead that team. But he has done a very good job in controlling the things that they try to do with the basketball.
And Lee Wilson with the bucket inside. 48 seconds left, and this will set up a
Is a poor double team, you got a problem because they got two three-point shooters on the outside. The concern on the outside, you see what he can do. Rangy takes the ball to the basket. He's the player of the year for good reason. He gets you offensively as well as defensively.
Time now to take a look at your starting lineups for Georgetown. Jerome Williams, Al Harrington, who had 23 points the other night, Allen Iverson and Victor Page. And for UMass, Dante Bright, Dana Dingle, the All-American.